Hey everyone, it's Mr. Bryant. Obviously, back again with a video about World War II. I'm going to do a bit of review about the causes of World War II, as well as a brief overview of the timeline. Today in class, during the lesson, you're going to be learning about the Holocaust. This is obviously a very sensitive subject, and you should be reaching out to me if you have any questions or concerns about the work. We obviously at AJR are facing history school, and this is supposed to be a really big part of our curriculum that obviously is not happening the way we wish it happening. But this is how it's going. We are hoping to still have a speaker, a Holocaust survivor, speak to you guys through a Google Meet or a video chat of some kind. We're seeing details for that. So look forward to that. Hopefully that happens. Okay, so quick review. Remember from the Great Depression, Germany had a whole bunch of war debt from World War I, which led to inflation, which means their money was worthless. Remember the kids right over here stacking money, 100,000 Deutschmarks just to equal $1. Germany kept printing money, paper money, over and over again, which made the value go down. All right, so the war begins on September 1st, 1939, when Germany launched an attack on Poland. They used a tactic throughout the war, but especially in the beginning, called a Blitzkrieg, which literally is the German words for lightning and war. Blitz meaning lightning, Krieg means war. Okay, it's a three-step process. Step is they do air attacks. They come in with planes, usually do bombing runs along a territory, or strafing runs with attack fighters, but usually starting with bombings. Then they send in tanks and mobile artillery. Tanks are like, obviously, armored vehicles with cannons. Or mobile artillery, similar things. They're like large weapons on wheels, things they can move around quickly on the ground. So basically, flatten things as much as they can with air attacks, then come in with armored attacks, then finally send in foot soldiers, which would sweep through the area looking for any resistance to kind of clean up the area and make sure Germany has complete control. It's very quick. That's why it's lightning war. It's supposed to be quick. It's like 1 air, 2 tank, 3 foot soldiers. Okay, and then they kind of occupy the territory with those foot soldiers. Okay. All right, you can see right here, there's a image of German Stuka planes. Right here we have a German tank, a little cut off by my head though. Okay, here's Germany at the time of the beginning of the war, invading Poland in 1939 in September, which starts the war off. And again, these are the Central Powers. You can look right there. If you guys remember the Central Powers, the red area from World War I. Allied powers are yellow, neutral countries are the light gray, and then the Soviet Union is a dark gray. Remember that Germany had a non-aggression pact with Stalin, which would be the dark gray Soviet Union, so with Russia. And he basically promised, hey, we'll let me take part of Poland. You can have the other part. We're going to invade a certain area up to a point, and then we'll be cool. The problem is that the Germans became really greedy with their land, and they wanted to take all of Poland, which violated that treaty, and then eventually does bring in Russia against Germany too. All right, there's also a Blitz in London. It's called the Blitz, similar to a Blitzkrieg. It's called Operation Sea Lion, which was the Germans' planned invasion of Britain. Hitler launched massive airstrikes. Again, that's the first step of a Blitzkrieg, right? All the airstrikes, the planes coming in against Great Britain's coast. The British Air Force put up a large fight against the Luftwaffe, which is the German Air Force name. And Germans start changing their tactics to begin bombing London and other major cities. So they're not just bombing just the coastlines, they're actually going into the cities and bombing where a majority of people live. Particularly London gets hit really, really badly. Bombings take place during the night. There's a lot of explosions, fire bombs. There's air raid sirens, these really loud sirens that would go off and wake up people in the middle of the night to know that they had to go to their basements or wherever low cover they could get to try to hide. And basically direct attacks on civilians, which is something that, to be frank, lots of sides in the war did. It doesn't make it right, but the Allies eventually do things similar to that as well. See images right here from this is London having been bombed out, and these are examples of German planes flying overhead and dropping bombs. All right, the Blitz lasts for 57 nights in a row, and then occasionally, every once in a while, until May of 1941. Britain eventually defeats Germany, and Operation Sea Lion is a failure. So eventually, Germany can't keep sending planes across the English Channel from their territory they've conquered in France to England, and eventually they have to pull back. And this eventually leads to the Allied invasion of France, which starts picking up the pace, and eventually leads to Germany losing the war. All right, so quick timeline of World War II history, just to give you a brief overview. So in January of 1933, Hitler becomes the Chancellor of Germany. Remember that he's elected by the German people. He goes on a platform of like, we could be great like we used to be, talking about how Germany was done wrong by the Treaty of Versailles, and how that they should be getting shouldn't have to pay so much money, shouldn't owe so much money. Basically saying like promising German greatness. By September of 1935, you have legal anti-Semitism, which remember means anti-Jewishness, which begins with what's called the Nuremberg Laws. In August of 1936, you have the Berlin Olympics, where the entire world comes to Berlin to take a part of the Olympic Games. You can see right here German athletes doing the Heil Hitler Nazi salute. And you see right here, you can see this is the Olympics. You can see swastikas all over a German runner with the torch coming to light the Olympic torch. And you can see right here, this is Jesse Owens. He's a famous track star that famously won against the Germans. He's an African-American man, which people kind of see as like kind of sticking it to Hitler because he's a racist. All right, November of 1938, this Kristallnacht, which means literally like glass or crystal night. Stands for like the Night of Broken Glass, which is basically after all these anti-Jewish laws come into effect, eventually Jewish businesses are attacked, windows are broken in, hence the crystal, the broken glass, and not by Nazi SA forces, which are basically like the secret police, as well as civilians actually get involved too, where German civilians are going through. They're either getting involved directly in fighting, or they're just standing by and watching this all happen and not doing anything to help their Jewish neighbors. You can see here storefronts crashed in. This right here, you can see it says Juda, which is the German word for Jewish, and a Jewish Star of David painted on the window, basically marking them as other and marking them as bad because of their Jewish heritage. You have September 1st, 1939, World War II begins. Germany attacked Poland. December 7th, 1941, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor, which means the U.S. gets brought into the war. And by August of 1945, so about four years later, the U.S. drops atomic bombs at Japan, Hiroshima right here, and then Nagasaki right here, which leads to the end of the war. What we're going to do now, I have posted the version of this without me talking as well in the Google Doc, so make sure you look at that. Take notes if you need to, whatever it is you need to do to study. And make sure you complete the Google Doc assignment. Reach out to me again by email if you have any questions or concerns, or you can always post a comment on the classroom or find me in the Google Meet at the appropriate time. Take care, guys. Bye.